On August 7, 2020, a quiet evening in the city of Kozhikode turned into a nightmare. A passenger plane returning home from Dubai skidded off the runway during landing and crashed into a deep valley, killing 21 people, including both pilots. What went wrong that day? How did a routine flight end in a disaster? And what lessons has the aviation world learned from it? Welcome to our channel. Today we'll talking a deep look at the tragic crash of Air India Express flight 1344, also known as Kozhikode plane crash. We'll explain everything in simple terms: the background, what happened, the causes, and the aftermath. Let's begin. Air India Express Flight 1344 was a special repatriation flight under the Vande Bharat mission, a government initiative to bring home Indians stranded abroad during the COVID-19 pandemic. The flight took off from Dubai International Airport on August 7, 2020. It was headed to Kozhikode International Airport, also known as Calicut Airport, in the Indian state of Kerala. The airport was Boeing 737-800, a widely used and safe aircraft. On board were 190 people, including 174 adult passengers, 10 children, 4 cabin crew, and 2 experienced pilots. As the aircraft approached Kozhikode, the weather was far from ideal. It was raining heavily due to the monsoon season. Visibility was low and the runway was wet and slippery. Kozhikode Airport is also known for its tabletop runway. That means the runway is built on a hilltop with steep drops on both ends. There is very little margin for ever overshooting the runway can be deadly. The aircraft made 2 attempts to land. On the first attempt, the pilots aborted the landing due to bad weather and poor visibility. On the second attempt, they decided to land on runway 10, which had a tailwind, meaning the wind was blowing in the same direction as the plane was landing. This is not ideal because aircraft usually land against the wind to slow down naturally. Landing with a tailwind requires more runway distance to top, but the pilots believed they could do it safely. At around 7:41 p.m., the aircraft touched down, but much further down the runway than it should have. It touched down about 1,000 meters beyond the usual touchdown zone. The runway was wet and slippery. Despite applying brakes and thrust reversers, the plane could not stop in time. Then disaster struck. The plane skidded off the end of the runway. It fell into a 35-foot deep fjord. The impact broke the aircraft into 2 pieces. 21 people lost their lives, including both pilots. Over 75 others were seriously injured. India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau launched an investigation immediately. The final report revealed the following main causes. The first cause of airplane crash is the decision to land on runway 10 with a tailwind was risky. They could have waited for better condition or diverted to another airport. The second cause was late touchdown. The aircraft landed far beyond the ideal spot that left insufficient runway length to stop safely. The third one cause is runway conditions. The runway was wet and there was no runway and safety area to prevent such disasters. The fourth one cause is weather and communication. The weather updates were accurate, but not enough attention was given to how dangerous the conditions were. Despite the tragedy, there was many acts of courage that night. Captain Deepak, the pilot in command, was decorated ex-Air Force officer, along with co-pilot Akhilesh Kumar. They fought till the last second to save the passengers. The cabin crew helped evacuate many survivors despite their own injuries. Local residents and emergency responders rushed to the scene within minutes to help. The Kozhikode crash was a wake-up call. Here are some of the steps taken after the crash. India's aviation regulator conducted safety audits at all airports with tabletop runway. Recommendations were made to improve runway lighting, surface friction, and drainage. Airlines were instructed to review landing policies during wet conditions. The Kozhikode Airport was told to extend its runway and safety area. Croatia Flight 1344 reminds us that aviation is safe but never risk-free. Even a small misjudgment during landing can have massive consequences. Pilots must always prioritize safety over schedule. Airports must invest in infrastructure that supports safer landings. And passengers must understand that diversion or delays are often made for our own safety. Let us remember the 21 people who never made it home that day and salute the brave efforts of the crew, rescuers, and survivors. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments if you'd like us to cover more aviation stories like this in simple terms with respect and care.